So if I pull up what those files look like right now, maybe, there we go. Leave me alone. I don't want to be in that directory. There we go. All right. So in my project folder so far, I have my CSS file, which I'm going to try to not edit and open in my web editor or my text editor. Sorry. Oh, I still only have Notepad. Look at me go. So we have adjusted our links at the top by making them be inline as opposed to block. And I mentioned I would talk to you guys a little bit about how to make them flex, and also grid, but I might have to do that offline because I did not research that 100% before I got here. But I'm going to play with it here for a little bit for a second and see if I can get it to do that. And then if it does, then even better, right? So we also want to open up our HTML document. No, I don't want a new document. Open. And I'm going to go back to our reading that had that nav in it that we were talking about. It'd be a good candidate. That's the photos, the images. Here we go. So I'm going to use this code, just switching it from being inline to flex and then adding in the additional flex items to my current code. And I'm doing it like this, not only because I haven't had enough coffee, but also like I'm pretending I'm you and you don't know how to do these things and go use another tool to kind of build menus or whatever. So based on the resources that you have, how can you get your page to do what you want it to do based on the things that I've shown so far? All right, so then the next thing we want to do is do the flex grow 1. If my cursor will show up, come on. So, and this has a nav li in front of it. And this also here has the nav where it adds this extra bit to it. And that is important because if you did this for all LIs on the page, then all of them would be flex and you'd never get a list. So made me jump. Copy all of that, I guess. Well, I don't want background to be gold. Flex grow 1. Text align center. Not background gold. No background gold. Thanks. And then my menu looks like that, which just puts them all equally across the nav. I happen to like symmetry a lot. I like houses that are the same on both sides, like duplexes. So pictures when they're all lined up and aligned properly. So I happen to like that. So then for the grid layout, if you wanted to use that, which if you have multiple stacks of information, similar to, not that we use the grid here, but if you were going to do two sets of menus on top of each other, you could use the grid to separate, and then that way, based on screen width, it would put, more or less, it would make your menu thicker, kind of like when we get small, it changes to a stacked view. And again, that is not specifically grid. That is a lot of stuff on the back end. But grid can help you do that pretty easily. So if you wanted to, you can set up your grid container with the display grid. And I'm going to make a separate nav so that it'll look similar because I happen to like the Flexbox. But this way you guys get to see both sides. And so I'm going to use these a second time. But I'll put it in the main section just for the example. All right, they use ID there. So. You gotta make sure you close your div. And then I turn all these LIs into divs like the example does in the book. You can also do this and put pictures in it if you want to have kind of the multiple pictures, and then it'll wrap around as needed or get smaller and bigger. When we get more into the picture section as far as viewports and things like that, there's ways that you can make that be dynamic. So I'm going to just copy the code because it will work just like that on the page. Ooh, that button. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to add this to the bottom of my CSS for this part. I'm not going to save it yet because I'm going to. So that's what that looks like now. Obviously the color is not so good because it's on white. So I might make it black just so it shows up. And it's going to have a light green. No, I don't want that. No, no, no. The border can be green though. We'll do that. All right. And we'll see what we get. There. So if you wanted to have more than 3 links or 10 links or whatever, you could do that. And when you adjust the size, you can see which one looks neater when you get to mobile, but you can do some styling on this so that it goes the right way. So I'll put my files back up again real quick so you guys can see what it looks like if you decide you want to go with a grid container nav, or if you want to go with the Flexbox, or you could just keep it with the ULLI ones with the inline for the display. And then this is the CSS at this point. I guess I could make this all flip. Sorry. It's a little bit better. All right. Stop that stuff.